How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Mexico State Men's Basketball News. I'm Marshall. In today's video, super excited to get out to you guys. Gonna be talking about how the Aggies got an upset win over their rival UNM. I want to apologize. I've talked about it a lot. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the community post or even on the last video. I mentioned in the comments, posting my own comment saying I was sorry. I got the Abilene Christian out video yesterday on Sunday, and I was trying to get it up on Friday, but I don't know what was going on with the YouTube. I can only post like shorts and public community posts, but I couldn't get videos up for some reason. It wasn't working, it wasn't loading, wasn't doing anything. Finally got to work, thankfully. Sucks though, because I uploaded on Sunday, the day after the Aggies beat UNM, so you guys are probably expecting a fun video, but instead you got the video from ACU when we lost and Coach Shooting got ejected and all that. But we did get a big bounce back win. We're gonna touch on all that and just explain how they got done. Deontay's been in the starting lineup for the past couple games, so hopefully maybe he earned his stripes back. Him, Zadi, and Christian started. That was the original, backcourt in the 1, 2, and 3 for the first couple games of the year and the scrimmage and all that. We'll see how, Deontay continues to play, but he played very well last game, had his best game of the season, scored 17 points, had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 7 for 12 in the field. I believe he's like 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 from 3, so he needs to work on his 3-point shooting a little bit and his free throw shooting. I know we talked about Andre Roberson a couple months ago in a video, talking about how his dad played for the Aggies. Andre Roberson's not the greatest shooter. He's a good rebounder, just kind of like Deontay. And I swear they have like similar shooting techniques. Both of them aren't the greatest shooters, but they can still knock it down if they're like wide open. But Deontay was only 3% from the free throw line on Saturday night. So that's definitely he has the fix. He looks a little bit selfish at times too. There was a play towards the end where he could pass it up to Cook for a wide open layup or dunk for the exclamation point to put us up by 10 and seal the deal. But he kept it, wanted to get fouled, wanted to get some free throws up to redeem himself, and missed both free throws. So struggling with the free throw line all night. And we hardly got to the free throw line until the end. The foul calling and the officiating was terrible all night long. We should have won in regulation. I swear the dude that shot the 3, number 1, he was going off. He had 14 points. Can't remember his name. Including the last 3 he technically, got. He didn't make it. It was completely off. It looked like he was out of bounds, and then Rob apparently touched the rim. I still thought, it sucks. It was probably the right call for sure, but it just sucks. Like in that situation, like you just don't call that, right? But whatever, we'll take it. Still won in regulation. And Coach Hooten set up that play for Rob. He said in a post-game interview, saying that he set that play up for Rob to get the 3 to put us up at 1 after we fouled UNM and they got some free throws. To kind of get out of his head, because he didn't want to have that back in his mind, like, hey, are we really going to lose off that? He even said that in the post-game interview, and he said that he thought the shot was going to be off regardless. It was a mistake, and luckily he learned from it. Luckily we won. So it's not like one of those things where ding costs us the game, bro. It's one of those things for the future, like, hey, just remember, next time if we're in this situation, we're up by 3 or up by however many, do not touch the rim in that situation. Just know, not to do that. Rob stepped up. Obviously I talked about Deontay, but Rob stepped up. He had 20 points, 8 rebounds, almost had a double-double. Him and Deontay both 8 rebounds, so big rebounds for them. Christian had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, had 27 points, his season high, career high. I'm not sure how many points he scored at the Division II level, but it's a career high for Division I. He had 27 points last year against Liberty, and Cook missed 1 free throw at the end. He made all of his free throws except for 1. So if he would have made that one towards the end, he made his last one, missed the one right before that, he would have had his career high. And I think he has a career high coming pretty soon. I think he can at least get 28 to get his career high. I also think he can get 30, and I believe he'll do both. I believe he'll get right over 27, and he'll get a game where he gets 30 or more. And I believe he just has a lot more, great games to come. Our veterans are, returners, leaders, the ones that stepped up. We could talk about Rob and Cook. Even though Deontay's not a returner, he's still a 5th-year player. Jaden didn't do a whole lot, but he had a couple, he had a bucket off the bench, and he brought some good energy. Carl only played a minute. He played right at the end of the game, and I remember they put Carl in, we were shooting free throws. Or maybe it was I can't remember if we were shooting free throws. I think, yeah, we were. And I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, Carl's barely coming to the game. I think he's played all night. And then I looked at the stat sheet, and they played a minute. So hopefully, I think it was a rival game. Coach wanted to win, obviously, really bad. But I still think Carl's going to be a guy kind of rotation, a guy who could possibly start. He's already started some games for us. Has a lot of potential. Hasn't got off to as great of a start as I wanted him to, kind of like with Deontay. But Deontay's been picking it up. And Carl's had some good games where he's looked pretty solid. So hopefully he can pick it up some more. What I was super happy about, too, in the upset win is that it was a comeback win. We were done by, I think we were done by 14, 33-19. We went on a 28-4 run to close out the first half. We got by 15, kind of blew it, went to overtime, but we still got the win. So that's a situation in the future we can look at if we're ever losing by double digits at any point in the game, especially in the first half. We can look at it like, hey, we were in this situation before against a really good UNM team at their place. The Pit's one of the hardest places to play in all of college basketball. So is Dayton. And so it was a similar environment to that. And we got the win in that environment, so that was great. I believe that UNM, they're still a great team, obviously. They're 7-3. They didn't play that great against San Jose State, but they beat UCLA, so maybe we beat UCLA. We actually play against Texas this week, so that's going to be a tough game. If we can somehow pull that off, then I think a lot of people, including myself, have a lot of confidence for this team. I still think this team can finish with a winning record. Again, sticking with my 18 wins. I'm always going to stick with that until it's impossible to happen, because like in the playoffs for the Blazers a couple times, like back when they're actually good, I'd make my predictions like, oh, they're going to win in like 6 games, and they would lose like the first 2, and that would change, like, oh, they're going to lose, and then they won 4 straight. That was against the Clippers in 2016. So I just never changed my opinion. So I'm going to still think they have 18 wins until they lose like 14 in the regular season, to where they can't get 18 wins. But as long as they can get at least 16, get a winning record and advance in the Conference Series tournament, winning game there, that's a win in my eyes. I know a lot of people are asking me, oh, do you think we can make the tournament this year? Anybody can make the tournament. You know, as long as you win that Conference Series tournament, you're good. You just have to win those 3 games. UTEP, our rival, almost made it last year, our in-conference rival, and they have the same conference record as us at 7-9, and we're barely like 2 games ahead of us. They had a losing record. They were 15-16. No. They were 16-15. Yeah, just kind of like, so I mean, hey, if we were to 16-15, go like 9-9 or 10-8 in conference, anybody can make it. Would we get a low seed? Yeah, but honestly, it doesn't matter how good you are. We could probably get 20 wins, and we'd still get probably a 14 or 15 seed at the highest. So all you gotta do is win that conference tournament. I know Coach Noonan and his staff and the whole team are gonna have a lot of confidence. That's what they want to do. I don't think they're gonna get number 1 in the conference going into that tournament, but they could definitely get top 4 or 5, like I've been saying and thinking. Just can't lose confidence in them. You know, I know, again, we won the first 3 games of the year. Everyone was high on them. Then we lost 5 in a row. Everyone was low on them. That would be UNM. Everyone was high on them. I think if we lose to Texas, no one's gonna really, it's not gonna really be too opinionated on it. What I do want to say though is, let's say, so we're 4-5. Let's say, we lose to Texas 4-6, but we beat Southern Utah, which is a game I think we can win at home. Southern Utah's a really good WAC team, but I think we can beat them possibly. That'll help us improve to 5-6. And then we're playing against Northern New Mexico and University of the Southwest back to back. One on the 19th against Northern, and then one on the 28th against Southwest. We're both here, so I'll break in between those games with Christmas and stuff. Again, those are 2 games against non-D1 opponents that the Aggies should be able to win. But Coach needs to make sure they go in the game with a mindset of, doesn't matter who you're playing. You play your heart out every time, just like we did against D2 Highlands and D2 Western. So we had to go out there and play our best. Those should be 2 guaranteed wins. So even if we lose to Texas and Southern Utah, we should at least be 6-7 going into conference. But I believe we can win at least one of the games against Texas or Southern Utah. Obviously, if I'm, being smart, I'm assuming it'll be Southern Utah. That'll be, if we were to win one of those games, I'm assuming it'll be Southern Utah. But who knows? Anything can happen on any given night. That's what I'm saying. Don't, that's why I don't, ever go into a game thinking we're going to win. Even though I think that Southwest and Northern should be easy wins, we still got to win those games. We still got to go in those games with the mindset of no matter who you're playing, we got to win. That's what Texas got to do against us. Because I think UNM and their coach, they went in the game thinking they were going to beat us by 20. We ended up beating them. You could tell they thought they were going to beat us. The way they were coaching and subbing in guys. They were like subbing in a bunch of guys early. Like some guys that don't get that much minutes early in the game. And then, we were able to stomp on them. They put their starters back in. We still played well. Held Dent to just 15 points. He averaged like 18 a game. A lot of his points are free throws. Again, the fouls were, crazy. The refs were calling a bunch of fouls. There's some games that the Aggies have fouled a lot, and they have been fouls. But the other half of the games have been just really bad officiating, especially these last 2, man. I don't know what refs have against us. I was just talking to my friend Xavier about that literally right now before I got back here. It's super frustrating, so I'm hoping that the refs can be more fair and start calling the games better. I was looking on Twitter, and there weren't a whole lot of UNM fans talking crap, which I was kind of surprised about, but it also makes sense because, like, what are they going to say? They can't really talk trash to beat them at their place with a rebuilding team in their second year of a rebuild when they're supposed to, try to make a run for the tournament. And that's actually really going to hurt them because last year, if we would have beat them at home, which I think we should have, if they didn't win that Mountain West tournament, they might have not have made it. And so they're going to probably have to win the Mountain West again if they want to make the tournament. Because if they don't win it, even to get the championship and lose, that loss against us, again, even if we have a winning record, I think we'll be like right over 500. And so it's going to be looked at as like, hey, you lost to your rival who's in a rebuild at home. It'd been different if lost to us here maybe, but at their place at the pit, that's why I'm super proud of the guys because not a lot of those guys have experience playing there. Only guys that do are returners, Cook, Rob, and Jaden. Christopher Bayaku, he didn't, play there last year. He wasn't on the team yet. He only played in 2 games. Xavier Johnson's only played in 1. Then Jacoby Osborne's played in about 3. I'm hoping the Aggies, especially against Northern Mexico and Southwest, if we can take care of business and get up to a big lead, I would love coaching to get those guys in a little bit for at least like 10 plus minutes. Kind of what we did with Keelan Dorsey last year, my boy, who's actually going to be in town pretty soon, he says. So hopefully I can see him, visit him, maybe make a video with him. But I would love to see those guys get some minutes. And, I want those guys to get some buckets because Jacoby's got some buckets, but Christopher and Xavier haven't scored. They've only played like 3 or 4 minutes total this season. So I'm hoping those guys can get in, show AU fans what they're about, get some buckets against some, teams that they should be able to get buckets against, I think. So we'll see how that all goes overall. I thought our defense overall was really good too. I think UNM just couldn't handle our defense, especially at the start of the half. We were tenacious on defense and we were playing our hearts out on offense, hearts out on both ends of the floor. that was the best complete game we played all season, our best win of the season. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, yeah, we beat a Division II school, beat a Utah Tech team on the road who's not great, but it was a good road win, you know, because we're not great on the road. We haven't been in the past couple of years. And then we beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which we should have won by 20 plus, but they ended up almost coming back and beating us. And UNM actually beat them by 21, I think it was, or 19. So when we were by 21, I was like, hey, maybe we can beat UNM. And we actually did. My point being, rival game on the road at the Pit, definitely the best win of the season so far. And again, I think I mentioned earlier, UNM is probably better than all Conference USA teams, I think. Now that doesn't mean we're gonna beat all our conference opponents, obviously. And it'd be nice to go 18-0 in conference, but we gotta be realistic. It's pretty hard to go undefeated in conference play for any conference you're in. I think best case scenario, we could maybe get like 11 to 12 wins. But again, I'll say anywhere from like 9 to 11 wins we can get in conference for sure. Because our conference is, you know, there's a lot of teams looking good. Like technically, if you look at it right now, we're actually towards the bottom. But you never can go based off the, you know, pre-conference because a lot of teams are playing against different teams. A lot of teams aren't playing that many great teams. Some of them are. You just got to, you know, look at our games. We played against, we're going to be playing against Texas. We're playing against a really good Southern Utah, ACU, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, UNM team. So like all those teams are great. I mean, the Bowling Green Pepperdine game should have been wins for us. So those are 2 bad losses on our end. But the UNM win's great. If we can somehow pull off a win against Texas, that's great. If we can beat Southern Utah, that's great too, because Southern Utah's a really great team. Again, glad we're playing them at home. And I'm hoping to grab JT Langston's attention. If you guys are watching this video, you should grab his attention too. Look him up. He was on Last Chance U basketball on Netflix season 2. So I'm gonna try to like channel him and be like, hey yo, I know you, bro. You know he doesn't know me. Maybe get into his head a little bit. It's all love though, at the end of the day. Just gotta talk crap for my team to win. It was just great that we made our shots a lot more consistently too. That's something the past couple weeks we just haven't done great on. We went like 3 weeks without getting a win. We just couldn't hit shots consistently. Even at home against ACU was better, but not great. We shot the ball way better. Our best road win in a while, our best shooting performance on the road in a while, because usually our shooting performance that are good come at home. Deontay's best game of the season, Christian's best game of the season, Rob's best game of the season. Like, they all had great games. I think Zadi had like 10 points, I believe. Gabe came in. I thought it was a good experience for Gabe. He didn't play the greatest. He had a couple turnovers. He didn't score, but he got to the rim at once. Just couldn't finish. He's going to be our point guard for the future. So for him to come in, play some big minutes, especially when Zadi fouled out toward the end of the game, he came in and played some big minutes in a big environment like that. I'm sure he's a little nervous, but as time goes on, by the time he's a senior, if he's still with us, which hopefully he is, he's not going to be nervous at all. He's going to ball out. And I'm just hoping that Coach Hooten continues to rebuild his team around him as the future goes on. Because unfortunately, after this year, we're going to be losing guys like, you know, Deontay, Christian, Rob probably, Jada. Those guys are all 5th, 6th year seniors. 4th year, whatever it may be, COVID years, there's all that going on. Who knows, they might have extra years of eligibility. I don't know how it's all going with that. But probably going to lose a good chunk of those guys, unfortunately. But I'm hoping we can still keep about 6 or 7 guys. I'm hoping we can get some more, you know, posts that are great. Because our post play has been kind of inconsistent. Like, Nate was playing really great at home against ACU, and he didn't even score as a starter on Saturday. Emmanuel played pretty good coming off the bench behind his brother. Actually, I don't know who. I think Emmanuel's the older one. I actually don't know. If you guys know, let me know. Edward didn't get in the game. So, I mean, the Shimanga brothers are definitely the post were our go-to. I always knew they're going in. But hopefully Edward can get some more minutes and showcase his skills a little bit. I think all our posts are definitely quicker than Casey from last year, but they're nowhere near the skill level of Casey. I know people were saying a lot of things about how slow he was, and I agree, he was slow at times, but he was super skilled and a really good post for us to have, and he loved our fans. And he averaged he almost averaged 10 points a game, which is great. Our centers right now are averaging like 3 or 4 points a game, which is, they're not like, ideal scorers, the more rebounders of anything, but it'd be nice to get a really dominant big. If we could get that for the future, have a great point guard in Gabe, super excited about that. I know I talked a lot about this video. Obviously, I want to talk about the UNM game, talking about our games coming up, our future and stuff. 4-5 on the season. Realistically, should be 6-3. There's only one game we weren't really competitive in. That was the Dayton game, which makes sense. Dayton's definitely the best team we played so far. Texas is about to be the best team. They actually just lost to UConn. We beat UConn last time and played them. Obviously, you know how that went. So played some tough teams. Played some teams that we should have beat that we didn't. We also beat some tough teams. So we'll see how it goes. It's frustrating to look at because I really think we could be 6-3. And if everything went right and we lived in a perfect world, we could be 8-1 because we could have probably got wins against UNLV, who was super close. And then, like I said, we should be Pepperdine, Bowling Green. And then ACU was a winnable game too, possibly. The officiating was bad. We had a 6-point lead in the first half. It was only a 6-point lead, but still, those were games that we were competitive in that we were never really out of. Even the Dayton game, we played really good in the first half. The second half is what killed us. So if you think about it, in every game that we played, all 9 games, we've been competitive or in the game, at least at for a certain half. So it hasn't been all that bad. You look at the record, 4-5. Now, it might not seem too great, but if you're watching the games, sticking with the team, this team has potential. I'm really excited to see how this season plays out. I really want them to get a winning record, improve from last year. I've seen a lot of, even for the UNM win, like, oh, we're going to have another 13-win season. Both our sports, major sports, aren't going to be great. But I think our basketball team can still be successful. Our sports overall are actually not too bad. Like especially our women's sports. Our women's basketball team's killing it. They beat UNM twice, and I think I said earlier too. Our men's team beat them once. Women's team beat them twice. UNM, so we split them for the weekend. They're 6-3. Again, men's team 4-5. Our volleyball team made it all the way to the tournament. But they lost in the championship against WKU again, who made it like their 6th or 7th straight year. Our soccer team lost to Liberty, but they had 11 wins, the most wins they've had since a couple years ago when I was a freshman. They've had 3 straight double-digit winning seasons, which is great. That's like the equivalent of having a 21 season in basketball or a bowl game season in football. I think our softball team and baseball team are going to be super good this year. Our baseball team beat a professional team from Mexico not too long ago in like some scrimmages. And softball's looking like they're going to be really good. Desiree Spearman's a really great player. Actually follows me on Instagram, so shout out to her. So just overall, sports are pretty solid. Really excited for the future of this team. I know I say every video, but I really am really excited for the rest of the season. One other thing I want to say before the video, it actually doesn't pertain to basketball. I think I might have mentioned it last video too, I'm not too sure. I was really upset though because in volleyball, we beat UTEP. We lost them in football, but we didn't beat in volleyball, which is cool. In the Conference USA tournament, but UTEP still somehow made the tournament because they had like 27 wins. They got an automatic bid for that or whatever. Or what was it? They got some bid to get in. But I'm like, we beat them in the tournament. I feel like we should have got in. Not sure how they pick it for that. Probably different than basketball, obviously. But I was kind of upset about that. But UTEP lost, so that's cool. Always got to handle the rivals. It's all respectful. Well, sometimes it's respectful, sometimes it's not. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I talked about a lot of other different topics, but it was obviously mainly a UNM video. Talking about, how our guys stepped up, like Deontay, Christian, and Rob, and just our whole team in general. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. The next video will be talking about the Texas game. So, future me, future us, we don't know how the game's going to go. But I would like us to remain competitive. If we can keep it within 15 or less, that'd be awesome. If we can get the win, that'd be even more awesome. Let me know what your guys' opinions on that game is going to be, and what our chances are of winning that game. What do you guys think the chances are? That's all I have, and I'm out.